Who's here at Yetizen for the first time? Anyone? Okay. So I'll give you a quick little introduction. Yetizen has we call it two pods to the Yeti. So the first pod is a free co-working space, as you see it here. So anytime you need a space to come work out of, if you need a conference room, feel free to just stop by. We're open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then secondly, we have an accelerator that's focused on a little bit later stage startups and helping them see explosive growth. And this is part of it. So last week I gave a quick talk on the secret sauce of the app stores. Basically, the algorithms that are used on the back end to calculate where the apps are ranked on both Android and Google. And this is not public knowledge. I happen to be personal friends with the engineer who writes the algorithm on the Apple Store, and the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer of Google, is a mentor in the Yetizen program, the accelerator, and he shared with us the algorithms on the Android. So we happen to have some pretty valuable pieces of knowledge, and if you're able to apply what you understand about those algorithms to your apps and in marketing those, for very cheaply or for free, there's ways you can affect your placement and your ranking in the app stores. So that's what I'm going to cover. And then also at the end, I'm going to touch a little bit on App Store optimization as well. And good thing Ian is here because he attended a pretty good session on it as well. So, discoverability on all of the gaming platforms that existed in the past, Xbox, Atari, PlayStation, there was no central location for gamers to organically discover. There was no centralized store. Now with the app stores, we have this new channel called Discoverability. And this is not virality. Virality from Facebook and other social channels, that's when I share something with someone else and they are downloading it, they're infected by my virus. Organic is, I discover content myself and I want to consume that. And the organic user is the best type of user. They monetize the best, they have the best engagement. So a user who searches through the App Store and they find your content, they read your description, they see your screenshots, and they want that app, and they consume it, that's the best type of user you can get. So how do you get organic users? This goes back to the formulas. So originally, when iOS first came out, the formula was really simple. It was the number of installs you had over the last 7 days dictated where you ranked in the app stores. They found that apps moved very slowly up and down the ranking charts. And so they evolved the formula to this, which is still an older formula. I'm going to get to the new in a second. But it was the number of installs over the last 24 hours, plus your rating, plus the amount of engagement time people had with your app, plus the sales. And then we started to see apps moving a little bit faster, but it would take days for them to kind of go up and down. This is the newest formula. So this is not released to the general public. And I've updated the slide a little bit. So it's the number of installs over the past 4 days on a weighted system, the number of installs in the past 4 hours on a weighted system, plus your rating, plus your engagement, plus your sales. Now with that said, the first two components, the number of installs over the past 4 days, the number of installs over the past 4 hours, is about 80% of the formula, and the last three components make up 20% of the formula. And of the first two components, the first one has about 50% more weighting than the second one. The weighted system is this. If you're looking at in days, your ranking is today's installs times 8, plus yesterday's installs times 5, plus your installs from 2 days ago times 5, plus your installs from 3 days ago times 2. And the same thing applies to hours, those days. Complicated. And what does that mean? How do you take advantage of that? Now that you know the formula that Apple uses to rank apps, here's just one insight. And as you go through this and study this formula and digest it, other insights will pop out. Weekends typically see about 20% more installs than weekdays, but weekends cost about 50% more. So even though you're netting a bigger result, the install per dollar spent is lower than weekdays. So what you can do is capitalize on this by starting your marketing campaign a few days before the weekend hits. Get the organic boost, and when the weekend hits, you get that 20% burst that you would compared to weekdays, which nets you more value for the dollar spent. And I don't want this just to be pure dictation from me standing up here. If you have questions, please do raise your hands. I want to engage.
I had a question on the previous slide. Could you get back one slide?
Sure thing.
Let Number of stalls over the past 4 days. Until I forget my question.
No worries. Any questions on? Yes.
Yeah, so there seems to be, the first says number of installs over the last 4 days, number of installs over the last 4 hours.
Yes.
And that formula in an image, how does that correspond to that, what you said up there?
This is the weighted system. So when I have weighted in brackets, this is how they weight it.
Oh, okay.
So the number of installs over the past 4 days, this would be
Got it.
4 days ago, going backwards, 4, 3, 2, and then 1 day ago.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
When you say engagement, do you mean actual engagement, like playing the application?
Yes.
Okay.
Number of times people load the app and how long they're in it.
Wow.
Yes.
When you say that all these factors are added together, are they actually just like mathematically added, or is it more of a multiplication sort of deal that goes in?
Well, like I said, these last 3 components, your rating, your
Yeah.
engagement, and your sales, and that's only in-app purchases, by the way, that's about 20% of this formula. The first 2 components are about 80%. So in other words, the number of installs you are getting is by far and away the most impactful component of that formula. And it's on a weighted system. Any other questions? Yeah.
Total number of installs actually has no impact. It's just less. It's what have you done for me lately?
Well, yeah. So if you've had 1 million installs, but it's been spread over a year, that's meaningless on the formula. It's only recently. So you can see old apps start to die out, new ones emerging. Even if they've had fewer installs overall, they can start picking up in the App Store. Yeah.
And the sales, the number of sales or the dollars going in, is that only for the actual app being bought, or does that also include in-app purchases?
In-app purchases. Okay, I'll move on. So this is just one example of how you can utilize that iOS App Store formula. Ian, you have another question?
I just wanted to break down 2 of those other things.